What's up everyone, Skirk has released. I've been testing her extensively, and today I'm excited to share with you the absolute best teams you can run with her. Whether you're looking for her top teams or just wanting some strong fallback options that do not include Escoffier, I've got you covered. And let's get right into the video and dive into her absolute best team. And this team will start off with Furina due to her good passive damage and exceptional buffing alongside Escoffier. Now I know this is probably painful for some of you, but do not worry, we will go over strong Escoffier-less teams. Anyhow, this duo is honestly amazing as Escoffier is the exact type of healer required for Furina's fanfare, thus you will be getting tons of fanfare stacks, yet Escoffier also deals really high personal damage with her skill and burst, in addition to giving ridiculously strong buffs to her team which shreds resistances of Cryo and Hydro by a crazy 50%. This pair is basically the foundation of Skirk. You've got passive damage, massive team buffs, and great healing. But the obvious question now is, what about the fourth slot? And here you actually have a lot of flexibility. Honestly, you can run whoever you want, yet for my testing, there are some top choices. Seedlali ranked as the #1 choice, and I get this might seem implausible, but it actually makes perfect sense. As a Nightline character, Seedlali benefits immensely from being able to use Force Under City, a set that boosts the team's Cryo and Hydro damage, which really complements this team very well. And yes, while there'll already be tons of Hydro and Cryo damage in the team thanks to Furina, still this is a really nice buff and will absolutely make a big difference, as the entire team benefits from this. But the real game changer behind Seedlali is due to weapons, and here's what I mean. Seedlali wields a catalyst. That means that she can make excellent use of Thrilling Tales, skyrocketing Skirk's attack by a ludicrous 48%, a huge attack boost that's especially wanted since the team doesn't provide much, if any, attack at all, but more so damage percent. So with Force Under City and Thrilling Tales, Seedlali, like her teammates, stands as an incredible support. But the pros don't stop here. Since Seedlali is a shielder, she allows for Skirk to run Calamity of Eshu, and this sword is a top weapon of Skirk since it's actually broken. It gives a crazy 40% damage boost to normal and charge attacks, two moves Skirk will absolutely be constantly using, and the sword also goes on to boost the crit rate of these two attacks, so Skirk will crit more often and deal much higher damage doing so. It also looks pretty good on her too, so points there. And given that Furina is in the team, it's the perfect setting for Skirk to equip Marechaussee Hunter, allowing her to have huge crit damage and likewise huge crit rate thanks to Furina. As such, it's really no surprise that this is a top setup of Skirk, but in case you don't have Seedlali, you can then swap her out for Shenhe, who came in as the second best support. Her Ice Quills will buff Skirk's normal and charge attacks based on her attack, and with Shenhe you do lose the ability of running Calamity FSU, but Shenhe provides buffs that are similar to the sword. Behind Shenhe, but extremely close, literally seconds close, is Yelan. Unlike the last two, Yelan's addition to the team is personal damage. Of all the times Skirk will basic attack, Yelan's burst will passively damage enemies. And I don't know about you, but having loads of passive damage to me is extremely satisfying, but Yelan doesn't stop here. Aside from activating the Hydra Resonance, leading to a good damage increase for Furina, her talent boosts Skirk's personal damage, making Yelan a perfect middle ground for supporting and damage dealing. But I want to preface that while I've ranked each of these units, legitimately the difference between them isn't all that big. Each team comp resulted in a great clear time, and we're close enough to where regardless of who you use, Skirk will perform brilliantly. On to the next team, I've gotta talk about Skirk as a sub DPS. While yes, Skirk as a main damage dealer is top tier, so is she as a passive damage dealer. She literally only takes like 5 seconds on the field, takes a fat chunk of the enemy's health bar, and then dips. So if you need a strong sub DPS or just want to switch things up with Skirk, a great team to do so is with Neuvillette. For max damage, the two will be paired alongside Furina and Escoffier. These two synergize really well because Neuvillette is Hydro, he'll adhere to both Escoffier's and Skirk's requirement of Hydro or Cryo only teams, so these two will perform at their best. And while this does lock Neuvillette's passive into not being used to its fullest, thanks to Furina's fanfare, he'll still output very high damage. On this basis they fit really well, but what I really like about this team is just how well Neuvillette's and Skirk's rotations fit together. Neuvillette wants a lot of field time. In each rotation, he'll be pretty much charge attacking around 3 times in addition to performing his ultimate, so this naturally naturally takes up a lot of time, to the point where your supports need to get in and get out as fast as possible, and this is exactly what Skirk does. Novelet and the team will be creating multiple void rifts, so Skirk in just a span of a few seconds will fly around, collect the rifts, and quite literally nuke the enemy with her burst. Therefore, Novelet can still take up all the time he needs, and Skirk can still get off her very powerful burst. And speaking of power, it's just really satisfying to pair these two broken units together. Both of them deal absurdly high damage, so enemies literally do not stand any chance. They die so fast. You've got impressive damage being dealt in the background, then factor in Skirk, who'll deal stupidly high damage, outright killing the enemy or leaving them on the brink of death. And Novelet hasn't even been switched on yet, but when he finally does, he'll push your DPS even further and wreck everyone. If you like Novelet or you're a fan of sort of dual DPS teams, definitely give this team a go. It's strong and really fun at the same time. Before we get into the next set of teams, it'd mean a lot if you could take a quick second to like the video and possibly subscribe. This makes a huge difference and helps me out a ton. Anyways, on to the difficult but still doable part of the video. Teams for DPS Skirk that do not include Escoffier. Now, Escoffier makes a huge impact to Skirk teams. We just went over how broken she is, but still, aside from knowing who you should pull next, there's units that can mimic her buffs or give entirely new ones. For such teams, you should begin with Skirk plus furina, and what you need now is a healer for furina and some sort of damage increaser. For the latter, a great option is Citlali. Just like the previous teams, she's gonna bring a host of buffs to Skirk and enable her to use Calamity of Eshu, so she is a top choice for this role, but you can also use the likes of Dahlia or Layla. Both being shielders, they'll bring about benefits similar to Citlali, while giving unique ones like an attack speed increase or buffing Skirk's normal and charge attacks respectively. The two can also make great use of attack increasing sets like Noblesse or For Millilith. Another powerful support is Mona. Her big strength is applying tons of damage bonus to Skirk. Mona becomes even more valuable as she can equip Thrilling Tales, raising Skirk's attack by a massive amount in addition to her damage. And of course, Shenhe remains as a solid option if you've got her. Another set of characters that are great in this role are sub-DPSs, and the best of these is Yelan. Like we went over, Yelan specializes in dealing high damage with their burst and also buffing Skirk's personal damage, so she heavily resembles Escoffier, as this is basically what Escoffier does. Xingqiu is a good replacement if you don't have Yelan. He lacks any buffing for Skirk, but still he's a really good passive damage dealer. He's a very strong option, as is almost any cryo damage dealer like Ganyu, Rosario, or even Ayaka. Whomever of these you choose, with regard to healers, you really only have two options. One is Mika, and he's a decent choice. Definitely not great since he's more so meant for physical damage dealers, but nevertheless parts of his kit do work with Skirk, like his fanfare oriented healing and boosting attack speed. The other end, actually amazing healer, is Charlotte. If she's built right, she can become a cheap but still incredible buffer for Skirk. First up, I don't really recommend giving her healing artifacts. Her healing will already be good. Instead, I recommend giving her Force Cinder City. This will give 10% cryo and hydro damage to your team, which certainly is no 40% damage increase, but nonetheless it's still a valuable addition to your team and will definitely make a difference. Then factor in the fact that she can use Thrilling Tales in addition to raising Skirk's damage percent. Charlotte is basically the best 4-star support for Skirk. Now I know I just threw like 15 characters at you, but this was to help you come up with some team ideas and to cater to everyone's account. With that, the top combinations you could run with these characters is with Citlali and Charlotte. This for the most part is a very comfy team. You don't have the possibility of dying with both Citlali and Charlotte's protection, so you can attack as much as you want with very little worry. Instead of Citlali, you can go with Yelan and Charlotte. Here the 10% bonus of Cinder City will be used very well, and you really want to emphasize normal attacking to get the most out of Yelan. Similar to this, but without having the need to focus on normals, you can use Mona and Charlotte. There's another combination that you can also use that's very strong, but it's more fitting if I explain this in the next team. Moving over to the next setup, we're gonna talk about Ayaka and Skirk. Now regarding the last team, you can absolutely play Ayaka as a sub DPS to your Skirk. Doing so is another exceptional variation of Escoffier-less teams, but to be honest, I much prefer playing the opposite of this and having Ayaka as the main DPS with Skirk as the sub. Which aptly brings us to the next set of sub DPS Skirk teams. You know, it was a bit of a shame when Skirk was revealed, with Escoffier essentially just releasing all the old and forgotten freeze units had finally gotten a resurgence. Finally, they were strong again and had a great place in the meta. Yet with Skirk, it seemed like just as these units finally were back in the limelight, immediately they fell again. They'd now be overshadowed and basically power crept by Skirk, and this was most apparent with Ayaka. Just as she returned to the meta, already she's being compared and pitted against Skirk, but I'm glad to say that Skirk can actually be played alongside Ayaka and actually give her a new best team. Normally with Ayaka teams, you want to play Shenhe as the fourth spot, and absolutely Shenhe's good and all, but with the likes of furina and Escoffier, you're already getting more than enough buffs. This is the prime opportunity to slot another damage dealer, and there's no one better to take this role than Skirk. Taking basically no time, she'll enter the field, cast her burst to where you can then dish out Ayaka's burst for crazy damage. It's so satisfying to get off both bursts at once and see them just obliterate enemies' health bars. In this team, though Ayaka herself won't necessarily be improved, you'll really see the difference Skirk has in Ayaka's teams. Her teams are absolutely pushed further, as is Ayato surprisingly. Ayato, though good, has always struggled matching the DPS of top units. Escoffier has helped him out in this regard, and now he gets even more help thanks to Skirk. Skirk's burst helps out a lot, but Skirk will also increase the level of his elemental skill, so even on a personal damage basis, Skirk helps out Ayato. Skirk even works with other cryo DPSs like Ganyu or even Chongyun if you use him. Well everyone, these are all the teams. Please let me know what teams you've been running with Skirk and consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching.